Welcome back to Saturn of Brookings. I have been thinking lately, and I want to adjust my video making format a bit. I do like my long-winded videos that cover individual projects in their entirety. However, these motion pictures take a lot of effort to produce. The projects themselves usually drag on for months, so when it is finally time to produce an episode, it takes a long time for me to go through my photo library and separate out all the footage and try to write a script. I like the way Robot Cantina has weekly episodes that show his project during the week on different projects. This will make video production easier and hopefully more frequent. Keep in mind that I will still not have a regular schedule and my production quality won't be nearly as good as Robot Cantina's, but I would like to try this sort of idea. I've been sitting on footage for like 3 different projects this summer, and the more they build up, the less motivation I have to sit down and work on making videos for them. Today's episode about the 94 SC2 goes back to April of this year, and I plan to work my way up to the present by making some of these episodes. So this is my 1994 Saturn SC2. I recommend you go watch the previous videos about this car for more context, but basically it is a high-mileage first-gen Saturn that I picked up for only $800. It has always been a running and driving car, but it is full of things that need fixing. At the end of the last video, I found a bad ground in the cooling fan circuit that seemed to be the cause of my overheating. It was true that the bad connection was a hindrance on the fan circuit, but I was still having issues with the fan not coming on. In January, I finally discovered that this whole time, the fan relay socket in the underhood junction block was internally broken. I could manually jam a short piece of wire in the holes in place of the relay, and that would cause the fan to come on. But the connectors inside are messed up enough that the blades on the relay do not make contact when inserted. Now see, the problem with this is
there are 2 important service notes on the junction blocks. First, neither junction block is serviceable. If any portion of the block is damaged, the entire assembly must be replaced.
And they're serious about this. If you try to take one apart, you will cause damage. So I visited our favorite 94 SL2 at Ronner's Auto in Wilmer, Minnesota. I also didn't film any of this, but I ended up taking the junction block and swapping it out in my SC2. Being that my Saturn is a 94, a 93 box would have also worked. The 91 and 92 model years are functionally the same as the 93 and 94 years. However, the addition of several features for 93 made the 91-92 wiring harness slightly incompatible with the 93-94 harnesses. In the opposite direction, 95 saw the introduction of the second-generation design of fuse boxes, so any junction block newer than 94 would be incompatible. After all of this, the computer's fan signal was fully able to turn the relay and fan on and off. Unfortunately, all of this overheating slowly brought about a new issue.
Why is there smoke coming out of your Saturn, Seymour?
That isn't smoke. It's steam. Steam from the steamed gasket we're having. Steam gasket.
Due to a combination of overheating and likely other age-related factors, my engine compartment became a boiler room. The car sat in the yard for almost 2 months while I waited for this idiot to finish using my garage for probably his 80th 350 swap. Sometime in early April, I finally gained the clearance to begin the head gasket job. The following is not a detailed step-by-step guide for this operation, but I will give a simple overview. The hood must first be removed for the sake of convenience. I jacked the car up and removed the passenger side tire. The wheel well will provide necessary access to the accessory side of the engine. Next, I drain the oil. Most Saturn drain plugs have a 14mm head, although I have come across a few with 15s. Thankfully, there was no water contamination, so the current progression of the failing head gasket was only allowing water into the combustion chamber. Since the timing cover must be removed, so shall the belt tensioner. You need a 14mm wrench, preferably one on the longer side. The wrench must be turned clockwise to loosen the belt. Several items in the boiler room must be removed. The tube that goes into the airbox, the tube that goes out of the airbox, the battery, the spark plug wires, the AC compressor, and its bracket. I drain the hose water from the system. Just because I don't live in the South doesn't mean I can't reap the benefits of a cooling system clogged full of minerals. I then remove the throttle body. All of this carbon buildup can cause interference with the idle air servo motor, and it may also cause the throttle to become sticky. This is Richard Nixon's fault as he personally invented EGR. Off camera, I removed the fuel rail and injectors. Saturns prior to the 1998 model year use a return-based fuel system, so there are two lines to disconnect. The power steering pump must be unattached from the cylinder head, although it does not have to be removed. The EGR valve thing must be removed as it is attached to the valve cover. 95 and later Saturns switched to an electronically controlled EGR system, which do not have this supporting device mounted on the valve cover. The exhaust manifold comes off next, followed by the valve cover. Everything up here is looking pretty okay. The wear on the cams looks pretty normal for something that has about 200,000 miles on it. Up until now, I did not know that older Saturns used flat tappet cams. Saturn moved to roller rocker type cams in the 99 model year. And it looks like somebody used RTV on the valve cover instead of using the dedicated gasket. The only motor mount that has to be removed is the upper passenger side mount. The timing cover has about 1 million small bolts and, well, here's a picture. I didn't end up ordering a new chain or tensioners, but it is recommended to replace these while you're in here. Carefully undo the head bolts and try to lift the head out. The head doesn't usually want to come straight out, so you may have to work at it for a while. Well, there's the problem. The cylinders don't look nearly as bad as last time we did a head gasket. The cross-hatching actually looks pretty good. Because of that and all of the RTV I found around the engine, I think somebody has been in here before. The cylinder sealing looks disgusting, but otherwise seems okay. Oh, and the engine is put back together. Installation is reverse of disassembly with the addition of new gaskets and torque specs. I bought this already painted valve cover from some guy in the Twin Cities last year, and I have been waiting for a good reason to use it. This will also save me from having to scrape all of the RTV out of the old cover. The paint job isn't that great, but it looks okay from a distance. Well, good, so the thing actually runs. The engine sounds like it ticks more than usual, at least during the first minute or so after startup. So I put some gas in the tire and aired up the tank. That concludes the head gasket. The operation went pretty well, however there were a few hiccups. I discovered that one of the exhaust manifold studs was already broken off, and then I proceeded to accidentally break off a second one, so we're on 3 out of 5 studs right now. I also broke off a valve cover bolt. While I was working, most of the brittle vacuum lines used for the emissions system broke into 1 million pieces. I was able to source replacements for most of them, but to this day I do not have the charcoal canister purge solenoid line connected. I don't know how important that is because I don't really know a whole lot about the EVAP emissions control system. In order to stick with my new episodic format, I think I will end it here. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.